No, I didn't. I didn't know him. I because she immediately, Isla had immediately gotten a boyfriend and moved out because she was living in a basement. I always felt bad for Isla. Isla was stupid fucking hot, just stupid with glowing skin. She looked ethereal. She looked like an angel looking back. And she used to get hard when she would talk to me. I just, she was just hot like that, and she was nice. She was nice to me, and she was nice to Farah, and she used to give us rides. Isla, on my first date with Farah, Isla picked me up in her I think it was a '78 Malibu, big red thing. I'll just never forget coming out of the house and seeing those two in the front seat, and just like Jesus Christ. And it was freezing. Isla's driving this that was a big car, a Malibu back then, and just little tiny Isla. Remember, I loved her. Just this hot little angelic, demonic fuck bomb. She seemed so much older, but she was only 3 years older. But it seemed like forever. And she'd be living in this basement, just this really dingy, scary basement. But she had her guitar down there. You'd come over every time I used to come over. Isla would be in there, and she'd be playing songs from Kill 'Em All in the basement on back. Because back in those days, little old uh, Dan Electro amps or something like that with these tube driven old transistorized amps. Those were common. And she had an old 60s amp that was tube driven. It was a Sears and Roebuck or something. And she had a Kramer guitar. And that's pretty good. I remember thinking, Farrah played, but she didn't play like Isla. Isla played power chords and could do little riffs. She'd be playing like Seek and Destroy or Jump in the Fire, and I'd be like, this is just too hot. And then I think his name was Billy. He got her pregnant, and I remember her sitting around and saying, "I'm gonna call the baby Red." I was like, "That's hot." I seen Rain. I think in like 2018, back when I used to have internet, I had to beat my dick because it was just a. She was so fucking hot. Farrah's niece, Jesus fucking Christ, edged my dick over that bitch. She was ridiculous hot. She inherited all that. I feel close to it, and I feel like I can, because that's my fuck pool. And I was spilling nuts over her, and then her page disappeared. I was like, fuck. She was another hot one that had hundreds of pictures. I'm so fucking hot. It's like, yes, you are, a little bitch. You know you are too, don't you? Ah. Somebody give me a date with that girl. She's got to be in her 20s now. Let me say, she's got to be maybe even 30, but that bitch was hot. Put that on my plate. Burn my tongue with that. Farrah was bad. It was great. She had such good grades she could afford to take the day off school, but she liked to go to school for some reason. She wanted to go to choir and madrigals and sing and shit. And sometimes I'd have her stay home from school. I'd be like, "Tell your mother we ain't going today." And you'd stay home and fuck her all day, watch The Price is Right, just fuck all day. And she would feel guilty about it. I should have went to school. I'm like, I feel bad. I'm not going to graduate high school ever. I'm going on 20 years old and I'm in 10th grade still. I wanted to go to high school. I wanted to go to college. But I'd fuck her all day. And then the summers were great too because I'd be there. She would babysit these 12-year-old girls that would come over, and she'd periodically keep coming back into the bedroom to fuck me while the 12-year-old was out in the. Oh my God. She came back from Central Park one day all covered in Hawaiian tropic oil. I remember giving her a titty job with that bikini on while the 12-year-old's knocking at the door. And I'm like, oh. And she's like, don't come in here. One more minute. And just fucking those titties. Boy, those were the days. Yeah, I liked playing in that band. It was to me and Farah, it was funny because we we thought the songs were goofy, but we both liked to play and we both liked to sing. And I half liked the songs and I half thought they were goofy. This was 1993, wasn't it? Because yeah, we almost had an album, and that was going to be the name of the album, 1993. And they were interesting songs. They were interesting. He used to write it. He used to write his songs like I did on a nylon string classical guitar, strumming it with a pick, and you're like, that's not how you're supposed to play that. We had that in common, which was weird. And yeah, I think he was inspired by like things like the Traveling Wilburys, Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, all those. He had all those. They were all cowboy songs, you know. Geade, C. And it was fun because he had money. He would take us to the best studio in town, Highland Studios. It was $40 an hour in 1993 to do that. And all it was, looking back, was an Alesis SR16 drum machine with MIDI bass and him just strumming an acoustic. I could have did it at home. And I used to tell him that too. I'm like, dude, I can do this on the 4-track if we can just get a drum machine. But Ted Highland would be in there all animated, doing the faders, looking coked out, all excited. Like, it's like, you can't possibly like this music. That's where the Erotics used to rehearse. That's one of the places, was at Highland Studios. That's where Born to Destroy was recorded. I mean, that was an expensive fucking studio. 40 tracks back then. All tape machines, like a couple 16 tracks linked together. I liked it because I got to go in there and play through a 1969 Plexi, and they would crank it up. And I was just learning how to solo. I forget who the assistant engineer was. He was the guy who went off and started Max Tracks. Wow, I can't believe I remembered that. He used to work with Ted Highland. He was nice. He'd be like, Aaron, you solo great, man. Just make sure you resolve in key, Just go off, man. And I remember basically that's like one of he basically taught me how to solo properly. Was Ted Highland's assistant. He's like, you ever play through one of these, Aaron? I'm like, at that point, I haven't even had a Marshall. I'm like, no, I never even. No, this is a $2,500 amp. He's like, yeah, there's a 69. This motherfucker's chanting, shut up, suck my dick. And he'd crank it up all the way. And I remember being a 16-year-old kid and thinking, boy, that sounds good. I don't know what sounds good about it, but this sounds good. Of course it does. It's Jimi Hendrix, man. And they'd put you in the room like that and put the shit on 10. And you'd go off for a solo. That's how I learned how to mic a cabinet too, come to think of it. It was from Ted Highland. Take a SM57 and put it in between the center of the cone and off to the side. Remember him showing me, this is how you get that great breakup. Yeah, you know? But looking back, I would have destroyed Farrah better. I would have introduced anal into it. I would have just face worship, slow edge sessions. Yeah. We first started smoking pot together too again. I had already smoked it as a kid, but I started my habit again when I was a kid. I used to smoke with her. We'd get high, listen to the Doors, and just fuck until 3 in the morning. Get up for school. Little piggo. Yeah, somebody sent me a picture of Rain again so I could beat my dick. It's like reliving that shit all over again. I love those girls.